All right, Galatians chapter 3, and we're starting in my commentary notes on the top of page 104 with this new chapter. And we've got the verse spelled out again, the one we just read in the ESV. Verse 2 and 3 reads, "Let me ask you only this, did you receive the Spirit by works of the law or by hearing with faith? Are you so foolish? Having begun by the Spirit, are you now being perfected by the flesh?" Okay, let's read my commentary. Here are my comments. In my opinion, no other chapter of the Bible has caused more theological misunderstandings than chapter 3 of Galatians. We would do well to tread cautiously as we seek to unlock its meanings. And indeed, this is going to be one of the longest chapters in my commentary to the notes to Galatians. Again, Sha'ul, I believe, returns to his irony with a rhetorical question about the origins of the giving of the Ruach HaKodesh among the Galatian believers. Right? Sha'ul surely knows firsthand from whence the Spirit flows from God to an individual. Right? So therefore his question is rhetorical. However, in this portion of his letter, I think that he's attempting to shock his readers back into some semblance of biblical reality. Right? I think he knows that they know. Certainly Paul knows the truth, and I believe that Paul is banking on the idea that his readers are genuine Christians, at least a good majority of them are, and he's trying to appeal to their sensibility. Having begun with the truth of Yeshua's atoning death, Paul asks them, how could they possibly be considering going back on such a revelation? How could you turn around right in midstream? To the apostle, such a notion was ludicrously untenable. Again, when we're looking at Galatians, and whenever we encounter the word law, we have to know, I say in my commentary, that among the Judaisms of Paul's day, that the Greek word for law, which is nomos, it could include a reference to the oral traditions and more specifically to halakha that governed proselyte conversion. And I believe that this perspective helps us to understand Paul to be challenging the validity of these ethnically restricted views of Torah among genuine covenant members. Remember, this, I believe, is one of the central ways to understand this narrow phrase, works of the law, to really be describing this narrowly applicable, ethnic-driven covenant membership. In other words, a salvation by membership, or salvation by birth, or salvation by lineage, however you want to describe it. Basically, then, Jews were born as covenant members, and Gentiles who sought covenant membership had to go through the proselyte conversion ceremony. That was a man-made ceremony. It wasn't really described in the Torah, but it was modeled after Jewish identity, which the Jewish people of Paul's day had believed was central to being a covenant member. And so that's, I think, that's where this phrase works of the law kind of gets its most mileage in Paul. But let's keep reading my commentary. Now, we know, I say, that surely lasting covenant membership is not acquired by human effort, viz. By works of the law, right? But rather by placing one's trust in the ultimate Son of the covenant, Yeshua himself. If that's the case, our opening question from Paul might be better phrased as so, quote, I would like to learn just one thing from you. Did you receive the Spirit by becoming proselytes, or by believing what you heard? End quote. So I'm inserting this phrase, by becoming proselytes. I'm paraphrasing what Paul said, where he said by works of the law, because I think more narrowly works of the law fits in with the sociological context of Jewish people trying to leverage their birth order or their lineage in view of salvation. Okay, let's keep reading. Our opening question. Okay, I read that part. I'm sorry. Paul provides his immediate answer. He immediately provides his answer, which is a resounding, "Are you so foolish?" Right? Paul knows it's futile to suppose that human achievement could in some way trump the grace of God as afforded by his only Son was an exercise in futility. Let's keep reading the commentary, and then I'll go back and comment on it. The second question, then, I believe, is merely a clarification of his previous inquisition, stated this time using the explicit language of the influencers. right? Remember, the influencers are what most people recognize are the villains of the piece. Most Christians refer to the influencers as the Judaizers, but you all know that I consider this term Judaizer to be a kind of a negative, pejorative term, therefore I avoid it. I think influencers is a better, kind of a more neutral term, a safe term, even though I do believe the message they were teaching was dangerous. But it's less racially charged if we use the word influencers rather than Judaizer. So I think Paul's using their language. In other words, the Judaizers thought that human effort was what got you into the covenant. And it refers back to the proselyte ceremony for the Gentiles, right? The Gentiles needed to take this extra step that they weren't afforded at birth to get into covenant membership. And that's why the influencers were really, really pushing for the proselyte ceremony for Gentiles.